So far we've really focused about talking about these format strings. We've talked about how to format numbers. We've talked about how to format dates, and that's all kind of, hopefully you can see, pretty much intertwined. All these things kind of go together. You know, even plurals fit into that same side of us talking about those format strings. So there's a few places in your app where I would expect you to do that anytime you're showing numbers, or any place that you're showing currencies or prices, etc. Right? So places where that might occur, right? Where are you going to find yourself showing numbers in your app? Well, one of those might be the release year of the game, right? So that I would expect that to be represented or shown, ideally using maybe a number format, right? Number format, get the integer instance and use that. But it's worth saying for that one, that's not a big deal because integers largely just work. So if you just want to put it in there using one of the %d methods or using one of those, that's fine. Other places where you might have numbers, well, is obviously eBay. So we kind of talked about what you want to do there in terms of representing the currency. So how to show the $ and how to show euro, etc. And notice that I really don't want you to parse that, and then try to format it back in. Like, it's already formatted without any rounding error. Don't try to turn a number and come back in, ideally, okay? That being said, if you're talking about the average price of eBay listings, that average, in order to do the math, you're gonna have to parse it. Make sure when you parse it that you're only looking at ones that are US dollars. So if the currency's not USD, forget about it when you're doing the average, okay? But that case, you're going to have to turn it into, in order to work with the average, you're going to have to parse those strings. You're going to then have to make sure you catch those exceptions that might occur, and then you're also going to then have to spit it out, probably using, I would recommend using that currency format, potentially. But if you're going to use the currency format, you need to specify that it's locale.us, right? To make sure that always gets spit out as the US currency and not the users not say as euro is the average price, because that would be different. Does that make sense? So that's where that fingers in, is on eBay integration. You definitely have numbers there that you need to watch out for. Is there any place in your app where you have dates? The reviews, right? The reviews should have a date and time. Where else? There's another place in your app where you should have a date and time. Last login. So in terms of on the game details, the review should be using the date format for that. That's what I want you to do there. In terms of the user profile and my profile, that should show last login timestamp using the date format as well. Does that make sense? So I want you to use what we talked about for those places. Okay. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting where you might have numbers? So if in your app you have a place that says, here's how many reviews there are, which you probably should, right? On the game details, I would recommend, what I want you to do there is add a place that says, hey, there's 5 reviews, or 2 reviews, or 3 reviews. Well, that's a place where you would need to use the number format, and you'd want to use the plurals to say it's like 1 review, 0 reviews, or 2 reviews, etc. Right? So that's a place where you would find yourself using the plurals and potentially the number format. Okay? Is that kind of a good summary of what we're looking? So that's where this part of the lab is going to figure in. Okay.